happened, y'all. We told him that when it was Shedor's time, we were going to be right here in Las Vegas, Nevada. We are at Allegiant Stadium after Shedeur Sanders' first NFL start here with Clinton Yates, Bill Rhoden, Jason Reid, and Jean-Jacques Taylor. Guys, let's just get right to it. What do we think about Shedeur's first start, NFL start?
Yeah, I mean, I think he earned another one.
Yeah.
You know, definitely, I think he earned another start, and I think that's we're all of us over the last year we were trying to figure out what is the meaning of Shedeur Sanders, and my quick takeaway is that he definitely earned another start. Man, he gave him a spark, more passing yards, more long plays they've had all year. So yeah, so my takeaway is that the brother deserves another start.
My takeaway personally is that the Raiders are terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know if I stole your takeaway.
No, not at all.
And I'm not taking anything away from Shedeur because we're going to get into plenty of what Shedeur did well. But my biggest takeaway, and I kept turning to Clinton on my right, and I was like, man, another penalty, another flag,
another sack.
But Clinton, what'd you think?
I think my main takeaway was that the Browns are pretty terrible too. Their wide receiver core did not have what I would call a good day. Jared Judy dancing around on the sideline like he's frolicking in a field and getting a fumble knocked out of his hands. That was weird on a lot of levels. There was another play, little corner route to the end zone where Tillman just looked up at the ball and did not pursue his route because I guess he just didn't see it or didn't think it was going to be a catchable ball. So it's one of those things where Sanders might have looked like one thing, but you think to yourself, man, I wonder if he was on another team. Like, how good would he be able to use his skill set? Because even if just not on the day, I mean, both of these teams had 2 wins coming in, and it was obvious, so.
I think my main take is that it's a deal where you just need to. He didn't lose a game, like you know what I'm saying. The opportunity is there when you're in that role is don't lose the game. So he kept it to 1 sack. He got rid of the ball. He had the 1 interception, but I mean he's a rookie. You get a bad play. So my thing was it's probably easier to play him, to start him the next week if you're Kevin Stefanski, because if you don't, there's a whole nother deluge of questions coming at you that you may or may not want to answer.
I'm going to piggyback on Bill's takeaway that he deserves another start. And I was in the post-game press with Bill, and Kevin Stefanski, the Browns head coach, was very clear about he's not going to get into that right now. And, I think coaches always say that in that type of situation. They want to be non-committal. He wants to look at the tape. But like JJT was saying, if you don't start him next week, there's going to be an uproar among the fan base. Because for whatever Dillon Gabriel did well or did not do well, he doesn't have that ability to get outside the pocket and rip off that long throw that energized people.
Yeah.
Now look, we're going to get into this, I'm sure, but he did not play great today.
I say it was aight.
Yeah, he didn't play great, but in terms of what he did with 1 week of first-team reps, and remember, he got no first-team reps at all during the off-season program, at all during the training camp. So with no off-season, with no reps with the ones until this week, with an it play, it's the type of thing where I agree with Bill. He definitely deserves another start. And it's going to be a very interesting week in Cleveland because if Dillon Gabriel clears the concussion protocol, the bottom line is in the NFL, the old saying is you don't lose your job because of injury. Unless the guy who took your job when you were injured.
Unless your job was on the line if you're right.
But it also says when your team is 2-9, them rules don't apply.
Yeah, you're right. And then, I mean, listen, also, to your point, they were 2 miserable teams. What did we think we were coming out of this? You had 2 miserable teams, 2-8.
By the end, we just wanted it to be over.
Exactly. We didn't come out here to see, 2 first place. We came out here to see Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah.
Could he produce? And he did. And I mean, the Raiders were terrible, but he could have been terrible too.
Right.
And when he had the chance to succeed, he did. As opposed to against, when he played against the Ravens last week, he had a couple of opportunities and he didn't. So that's kind of how I judge it. Either you do, you don't.
Jay Reid, not to get too far into what you're saying about Stefanski, but I feel like at some point also the Browns as an organization can't just be blindly trusting Stefanski with just everything. It's like if this was what you saw with 1 week of first team reps, what were you looking at for the entirety of the preseason and or the offseason? Because you only got 2 wins, as he was saying. Like at some point, you've got to say, hey, Stefanski, like maybe what you think works is not what's working, and you might want to try something else on your roster because otherwise you're just going to keep running the same guys out there and getting the same result.
Yeah, and I hear what you say. The problem is, and what it really goes to what you're speaking about, an organizational thing. Kevin Stefanski, from everything I've been told, looked at this as like a redshirt year for Shedeur. He just did not think he was capable of playing right now in the NFL. So, does he come off of that, or is he told to come off of that?
Yeah.
Well, I think you're right, but it's I don't know how it's clear to me when you saw we talked we looked at each other. Remember we made that first play. You said Dylan Gabriel
Can't do that.
can't do that. Now I agree that I think Dylan Gabriel should have played at first because he's got the kind of game where you can plug him in. He's not going to be here. I mean, he's just like that. But when you need magic, he ain't a magical guy.
No.
And Shedeur is. The only thing he has to do, and we saw him do it a little bit today, is to thwart that tendency to make stuff that ain't there. And you saw it a couple times. He was about to do it. Then he said, "No, let me just check this down." So I saw that's a point of growth.
Well, the other thing is, as you look at them as a team, they didn't put them in a position to succeed today. They were 3 of 12 on third down. Those third downs averaged 11 and a half yards.
It's pretty hard.
You can't.
Yeah.
There's no good plays for 3rd and 11 in the NFL.
That
He
nice
had-
throw came on a 3rd down.
Right,
Yeah.
but that's going to always be the exception, not the rule.
Yeah, and that was the next point. He goes 11 to 20, 209, 209 yards, a touchdown, an interception. Only takes 1 sack, and some of those incompletions are situations where he has to throw the ball away. Those are times where he might have been forcing the ball in preseason, forcing the ball at Colorado, and then the penalties just piled up on him and put him in long yardage situations.
Yeah, I mean, you can't win like that. They got to do a better job winning on first down. Quinshon Judkins, I think, only carried the ball 12 times today. So they got to get him more involved because the best thing, and maybe he realizes this week, their defense is actually really good. So when you punt the ball, it's okay. You don't have to make all these plays because you'll get it back in 6, 7 plays.
I lost track of how many times during the game Clinton said to me, that should have been the play on first down.
Yeah.
when they had the play on second down where he handed off to Judkins and you get a chunk of yardage. But what did we think about the scene, guys? And I know JJT and Clinton, you guys kind of combined to work on a piece for that. Jason, before we got here, you wrote a piece going into the week about the Dog Pound, the Vegas Dog Pound and their fan club. What did we think about what we saw in the crowd today and outside the arena?
I spent some time in the parking lots beforehand, and folks were getting after it. Browns fans travel well. Everybody knows that about them. They're a big-time fan base. I've said before in different spaces, Browns fans don't even care about football. They just like hanging out with other Browns fans. And that's not a slight. It's just because that kind of community is how they operate. And there were tons of Sanders jerseys out there. And I don't just mean young brothers wearing them. I mean folks of all shapes and sizes and creeds and ages because he represents the next closest thing to like hope that anything is happening in Cleveland. And so I think that was a big deal. A lot of people said, look, I'm rooting for this kid because he's a good guy. That was a lot of what the sentiment was, is that I heard the word God-fearing more than once from different people. And, while that might not be important to everybody, I do think, kind of a Midwestern town, there's an element of that where people appreciate, for lack of a better term, sort of those kind of values. And that was a big theme in some ways, never mind how far people came, to come to Vegas to see him play. So I was really impressed with that. And folks were having a good time. You know what I mean? Everybody was doing, the number of times somebody said perfect timing was so corny that I didn't even want to mention it. You know what I'm saying? These folks are programmed in some ways. You know what I mean? About what Shedeur brings to the table. So, it's an interesting scene to see somebody that young for Cleveland, of all places, have a sort of a Pied Piper type effect.
Well, for me, it was the hope that he instills in the organization. And they built a lot of that hope on what he did in Colorado, how that whole thing got lit up when he was there. They're like, maybe he can do it here. Because I was impressed with the fact that not only, I figured there'd be a lot of Browns fans here, but the number of people who said, oh, I heard he was starting on Wednesday, and that's when I bought my plane ticket, and that's why I got tickets for the game. Like, we all know what short notice flights are. Yeah. We all paid for him to get here. And so, and so for people who are doing their hard-earned money to cough up $1,000 to make a flight for this guy on a team that's 2-9, that's one reason Kevin Stefanski don't want to answer some questions tonight. Because being in Dallas-based, I saw what I didn't really believe a fan base could do it like that till they traded Luka, and the fan base turned. And what I'm saying is, when you think a fan base only has so much power, they really have more. And so Kevin Stefanski's issue is, how do I deal with this whole conundrum?
I think to that point, sorry, Bill, is that it was a good thing that this game was on the road. Because if this happens in Cleveland, I think there's a touch more pressure. I think it's a little bit more intense in terms of just how it feels. You know, you've seen some of these Cleveland games where the crowd is chanting, "We want Shador," and somebody else is playing quarterback. You know, that's never a good thing. And so I feel that there was a little something to the element of, okay, we're outside of the box, but we're still in our routine that helps Shador kind of center himself and have a decent game at best.
Right. If you're Andrew Berry, I mean, I forget to mention, but if you're the GM and you see this, I mean, hope is like real. Hope means tickets. It means your fan base is not going to necessarily storm the Bastille.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that, and like you said, your boy, he's 2-9, and this kid is giving you hope. Then I think you got to go with him. I mean, Dylan Gabriel is a good kid, you know, but he does not necessarily inspire like hope. And I think the time is right for Shedeur to get a shot. Now they play, I think, San Francisco next, right? So we could be in here having a whole other conversation. So let's not go too far.
Right.
You know.
Now these aren't the 49ers of yesteryear or whatever, but at the same time, they're definitely going to be better coached, have better personnel than the Raiders. But also, it's going to be a home game. So what do we expect? What do we think we'll see? And I guess the first question is,
Will he start?
Will he start?
Will he start?
Well, you know, just what everybody's saying, you know, I remember this quote by Abraham Lincoln, which everybody knows was one.
Oh, yeah. Honest Abe. Okay.
Here we go.
And what the quote attributed was, you know, public sentiment is everything. Right. With it, you can accomplish anything. Without it, you can't accomplish anything.
Right.
The problem Kevin Stefanski has is what Clinton just said and what what we're all saying is that there is a tidal wave that's forming.
Right.
Now, I'll tell you this. Most Brown fans don't know the complexities of playing quarterback. They don't know how Kevin Stefanski's going to look at the film and grade him, but here's what they do know. That kid rolled out and threw a bomb that excited the whole fan base.
Should have been a touchdown, to be honest.
Should have been a shot. Remember we were talking about it should have been a
Yep.
touchdown. So what Clinton is saying is about, like, this game was good to be on the road. Because of what he did, Kevin Stefanski's in a box now. That game at home, if that kid is not starting, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Well, the first time he throw it in completion, what's going to happen? What we just talked about. It's going.
Yeah.
And again, I'm gonna bring up Dallas one more time. The reason Dallas GM who traded Luka Doncic got fired last week is that the home game the day before he got fired, they're shooting free throws to win the game, and the crowd is chanting, "Fire Nico, fire Nico."
It's a real thing.
And so they were just, we can't do it. And the same thing will happen in Cleveland. It'll be, we want Shedeur, we want Sanders. However they get it down, that'll be it. And that's why. And you don't want to put Dylan Gabriel in that situation because for him it'll be more pressure than anything. It'll be, I got to make a big play. I can't make a mistake. I got to score a touchdown in every series. It's this is where you need strong leadership, man, from the head coach.
Two-time coach of the year, be the coach.
Be the coach, make a decision, and own whatever decision that you make.
I appreciate it. I mean, you can't. He's not going to make decisions at the press conference.
No.
We want him to. But he said,
Yeah,
going
we
down
want
that
the story.
road. You know, but I think it's clear that, you know, Shedeur is a piece. The only thing I say about Shedeur, we love the confidence. But somebody said about the thing he said right after the game. You know, when he said the anchor said, what do you hope people to come away with? Something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but he said that I'm the answer, or I'm the one they've been looking for.
That was before the game.
Whatever.
No,
The point is that he speaks.
It could have been before and
He
after.
speaks his mind, and I think, again, one of the things we noticed, and I noticed having gone to Colorado more than once, was that teammates like playing with him, which is something that I think there's no measurable for that, but I do think that it is, in fact, his best skill when it comes to why you want him at the quarterback position. And there was one example of that I wanted to point out today that I noticed, and it was actually my favorite thing he did today, which was when Crenshaw went down, there was a little interior run, and he got knocked down to the ground. Shedeur was the only player that came over him. He took a knee, and he was talking to him. And the ref came over and started tapping him and started saying, "Get out of here." He said, "Get out of my face. I'm talking to my teammate."
But then one of his players came.
And one of his players came and said, "Hey," and he said, "All right, cool." But the point is that he shows his concern for his guys. And I think that's something that, again, that is my favorite part about him. And it showed today a little bit, even though it wasn't necessarily the greatest performance numbers-wise.
That's a
they
great
play
point.
with him, and that's something that's important.
You know,
They ride with him.
Yeah.
He's been like that whether it's at Jackson State or whether it's Colorado, anytime you pull guys aside, what's he like as a teammate? He was always the best teammate. Because even at a place like Jackson State, he'd take the lineman out, I got it, or hey, I got access to this, come ride with me. It was always whatever I got, you got.
Right. So he's the guy, so he's the guy for this team in this situation. Now, if he was with a team like, I don't know, who had a deep established leadership, maybe not. But I think on a team like this, that's kind of in this wilderness, in this desert, he is the person.
He's got some natural charisma, too.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
But you still got to perform. I mean, like I said, he plays. I know you said San Francisco's not Oakland, but they're better than. I mean not Oakland, not the
Los
Raiders.
Angeles.
But
You mean
it's
Las
going to be a
Vegas.
step up. It's going to be wherever the hell we are. But it's going to be a step up in class.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's going to be a step up in class. But I think maybe that's what you need. That kind of bravado. And I know that's another segment for another. We all know, like, you meet a guy who's a kid plays for the Carolina Panthers.
Bryce Young?
Bryce Young. Some people just meet like Bryce, very humble guy, and you just immediately want to cheer for him. But I guess as a journalist, we have to step back. Well, just because that's my cup of tea doesn't mean that that's everybody's cup of tea.
Sure.
So you should just keep doing what you're doing, brother, but just win.
Or else. See y'all in Cleveland?
You got to pay me a little extra to sleep this time of year.